I'm Greg Story from the Carnegie training organization here in Japan. I want to talk about a couple of things that can help you make your presentations better. I was at a presentation very recently, and our presenter came out telling us he's going to be loud and he's going to be leaping around and it's blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there in the audience, probably about 20 people in the audience, thinking, wow, there's only 20 people here. Why would he need to be loud? Not a big audience to be loud for. Why is he doing that? And I guess this is a sort of style. He's trying to position himself in a certain way as a presenter and have his own, differentiable approach. I understand that, that's good. However, I think he could have made it even better if there'd been a bit of voice modulation. If you're loud from the very word go, it tends to be a constant, and we don't have the differentiation of highs and lows. So after a while, all that energy, all that loudness saps your audience. You get tired. It's a bit like if you went to a classical musical performance and it was just crescendo after crescendo after crescendo and no lulls. After a while, that's going to wear you down. And the same with this presenter. He's just pounding us with all this energy. I love the energy. Don't make a mistake there. I love the energy. But we can have energy and we can take energy out. Because, a conspiratorial whisper, a little secret between you and I, that works unbelievably well in terms of getting an audience to lean into you. Just yelling at them isn't necessary. You can actually have volume, but have volume on key words in the sentence. He was hitting every word. It was like, this is going to be a really great presentation. I've got lots of energy. I'm loud. I'm going to be like this all the time. Every word had the same power attached to it. So therefore, you couldn't hit key words and make them stand out in the mind of the audience. Focus. If I want to make that the key word, I hit it a bit harder. Or I could say, focus. Both work very well, but it brings out a single word or a couple of words in a sentence, highlights them to an audience. These are things you want to hit. So having one constant volume of loud takes away that opportunity of using loudness when you want to get impact with an audience, or you flip it out and you take it away. I was giving a presentation in Kobe a number of years ago at Kobe University, and I was talking to a group of Americans. They were on I think it was about a year exchange program in Japan. They're about to go home. I gave this blistering talk, this, very motivating talk about how they could take all the things they learned in Japan and go back to America and change the world, And I was very powerful all the way through. The speaker after me was a Korean professor, and he spoke very quietly and very softly. And I'm sitting there listening to this professor give his talk, and what am I noticing? I'm noticing the whole audience is leaning in to listen to this guy. And I thought, look at that. You don't have to just be boisterous and rambunctious all the time. You can get an audience to come to you by taking the power out. And now, of course, being at Carnegie, where we teach presentations training, I know a lot better what I should be doing compared to then. That was quite a number of years ago. So my speaker in this particular event, loud, no differentiation, no voice modulation. And the other thing is too, when you're constantly pounding your audience like that, bang, 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 all the way through, they've got no time to digest what you're saying. It's killing them because each idea is being overtaken by the next idea, by the next idea, by the next idea. They can't digest it. So pauses are quite good. A little pause there, like I just did then, right? Lets it sink in a little bit, gets them ready for the next piece. So loud all the time, not so great. No pauses, not so great. And I think the other thing I noticed about this presentation was a lot of good information. It wasn't a bad presentation. I'm not saying it was a bad presentation. It could have just been so much better, though. He could have actually brought out the key points more because they're all cluttered together at the end, and he ran out of time, and he was rushing. He could have actually rehearsed that presentation, worked out the timing, understood where to spend time, not spend time. He didn't take questions during the presentation, so that's a good idea because then you can control your time more easily. But he got to the end, and there's like the last 3 slides were probably the juice. And it was like, oh, we don't have time. I'll get right through this. And you've heard that before, haven't you? Oh, we've run out of time. I'll just finish this up. And then they rush. The last slides, bang, 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 rushed. Now, yes, they're going to send the slide presentation to us. Okay, are we going to look at it? Will we have time to download it? You've got them in the room. That's the time. You grab them. And here's the key points. Make sure you got time for that. And you know that if you rehearsed. He obviously hadn't rehearsed. And the last thing was he just sort of finished. He didn't have a single message he wanted to leave with us at the end as the last thing ringing in area. Like you have, you close before Q&A, and then you do a second close because that gives you the dominance over what's in the mind of your audience, because that's the last thing they hear is from you and not from some possibly random question that someone asks. Because, we get to question time, people ask all sorts of questions, often not even on the topic. If you get one of those at the end, well, the audience remembers that and completely forgot about you on the topic. So here are some ideas for you to help you in your presentation skills. If you'd like more ideas, I have a whole podcast full of this stuff called the Presentations Japan series on iTunes. 117 podcasts there. If you want to sit down and think about what are 117 things I should think about when I'm presenting, good luck with that. Let me know how that goes. If you don't want to spend your time doing that, just go to the iTunes, the Presentations Japan series, and you've got them all there. And you could pick out things that are interesting to you or binge listen the whole thing. They're under 20 minutes long, so it's not phenomenally taxing. But knowledge is very key, and our presenter had knowledge of his subject, which is good. Knowledge of presenting, not so good. And, of course, rehearsal, knowledge and rehearsal. I can't help you at the moment with the rehearsal unless you want to come and train with us at Carnegie. And we've got phenomenal training, high-impact presentations, 2-day course, 2 instructors, everything videoed, phenomenal program. I recommend that. If you'd like to do that, great. You'll see some details on our website, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Or you might like to have some free resources. They're there. It's on iTunes. It's free. The Presentations Japan series, 117 podcasts there. Lots of you, very detailed. I mean, this goes through everything you'd ever need to know. So check that out, see if that helps you. And remember, when you're presenting, voice modulation, pausing, okay, let people digest what you're talking about, and make sure you rehearse. And also, don't forget, have your closes, 2 of them, prepared at the end. If you do that, your presentation will be much stronger. Good luck with that.